Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. We are at July 14th. It's crazy. Time just like flew by. It's already summertime. We love it. We are here for another episode of Samara Keeps It Real Estate. Hi, everyone. I am Samara, your real estate broker, investor, mom, entrepreneur, coach, philanthropist, and neighborhood mythbuster. So if you're checking out my Tuesdays, you're seeing the mythbusters as well. So thank you guys for jumping on. You know the deal. Where we come on here, I give you guys a quick 15-minute Q&A segment. Ask Samara anything. I've got stuff in my queue. You guys still send me things all the time. I love it. We give you no fluff, real information. Just answer your questions and help you have a place to where you're not afraid to ask questions, which is good because I have some very interesting questions today. And I think I have to throw out one oddball that I actually got. So if we have time, that'll be our bonus question. But usual format, we try to hit a question for the buyer, sometimes two. It's kind of rough out there for them these days, guys. It really is. We also throw out seller questions, investor questions. If we have time, we hit up commercial and occasionally agent questions to people that are thinking about getting into the industry. So let's get started because this is the fun stuff. I love it. I love it. Another Monday with you guys. Thanks for joining me. Okay, let's get started. All right. Oh, buyer. We have house hacking. What is house hacking as a first-time home buyer? Now, guys, I can go down probably a whole path of house hacking 101 if you're game for it, okay? But basically, it's when you live in one unit and rent out the other, right? So that's basically you're leveraging tools. And the hook here, guys, is you can have someone else paying your mortgage as a first-time home buyer, which would be fun, right? But that does come with pluses and minuses, right? Do you want the space and the privacy, or do you want to be able to capitalize and have someone else paying your bills? Obviously not always as easy as that, but that's the premise of the big picture. And the way that people usually do the house hacking is you have a first-time home buyer, they'll use their FHA to get a duplex, and they'll rent out one side and live in the other. And usually if you rent it out for the right amount, the numbers make sense, that could probably cover your mortgage. Then you just have your utilities and things like that. So even if they're not covering your home mortgage, you have a place that you can stay, and then you have, income coming in. You start making money on a house that you own, which is a great hack people are using. You obviously got to be in the know about things, right? Your local zoning laws, the basics, things like that. But trade-off, guys, is it privacy or wealth building? I don't know. I mean, for example, I have a 24-year-old that bought a duplex over in Asbury, and they're loving it. It's working out great for them. I mean, they're able to capitalize. They've been putting away a lot of money, and they just asked if they're able to start looking for something bigger as a trade up. So keep that in mind. Already doing it. So you get cash flow after living expenses and everything like that. So that was a really good question. Whoever asked that, because that house hacking, for those of you who can do it, it's a good opportunity for you to start building some wealth really early in the game. All right, because sometimes we got the other model where we're buying, little ranches, smaller houses, townhouses, and then renting them out, keeping them, and then buying your next one. So we have a lot of fun with this stuff. This is all really, really good stuff. For those of you who want to know more about the house hacking, or if you need a spreadsheet on like how to do the numbers and stuff, feel free to DM me because I can help you out with that too. Because it's an excellent concept. The numbers have to make sense, and you have to be able to be comfortable with the idea of being a landlord. Right? There's responsibilities with that and what's next with it. I want to sneak in one more buyer question because this was actually a really good one, and it made me laugh because as realtors, we want to make our properties look amazing, right? So we go to a listing and we make sure that the photos look good, everything looks good. The question was, how much should I not trust the photos in the listing? So I'm trying to figure out how best to explain this. I want you guys kind of keep this in mind. I want you to think of photos kind of like as a dating app, right? So when they put their best foot forward, there's great lighting, there's fantastic angles and all the good things. So you want to be able to see your house in person. The photos just kind of get you there, right? Get you on that first date. And then you get to decide for real what it's made of. And it's worth, a little bit more than just swiping left or right. So hopefully that is helpful to answer your question. So believe them to some extent. Sometimes the pictures don't tell enough of the story because the house is absolutely gorgeous. And sometimes we really do make it look beautiful. Not on purpose. I mean, well, yes, on purpose, but not to deceit, but to put your best foot forward, because the sellers should be able to tell a story when they're selling their house. So yes, take it with a grain of salt. Swipe left, swipe right, find the house you need, and call it a day. Bye. Thanks for jumping on. So yeah, great question. I absolutely love it. So thank you guys for making me laugh, because that's a real question. I mean, how much you should not trust the photos that go up online. And then sometimes you have to laugh at them, because people have like photos where the agents that kind of cut corners and they take a photo of a room and there's like just complete and utter chaos. Why did you take this picture? Who are you trying to capture? So keep that in mind too. All right, my buyers, hopefully I got your 2 for tonight, but I see more questions. Guys, whenever you have questions, drop them in there. I'm here. I love it. Thanks for jumping on. We're going to go to our sellers. This one was actually a good one, because it's a real seller question. Because for those of you who've already worked with me and those of you who read my book, you know that we actually help you put together the whole plan. There's a lot involved in selling a house and even getting it ready for the market. If you haven't read the book and you need a copy, DM me. I got you. It's completely free. At the moment, people really like it. It's flying off the shelf, so it's really good. But for right now, it is for people who want to know that information. I'm all about the knowledge share. Make sure you snag it. And it gives you all the things that we do to get ready for getting your house to the market. All right. So with that being said, the seller, maybe they were being slick, but maybe they were just trying to make sure that, they were very clear on what was expected. It's like, hey, make sure the house is show ready. Make sure it smells fresh. And they're like, well, should I bake cookies or burn sage? Great question. Great question. I would say neither. I mean, you want to create a feeling, not necessarily a fake smell. I always say go light and fresh and airy, like, clean scents, like linen and things like that. Not so much like the, pumpkin, or some people are anti-pumpkin, guys. They're out there. So you want to keep it neutral, really clean, really fresh, all those things like that. So that was a really good question, but there's no need to, sage the place. Whoever comes in next probably will do it either way, but it's a good clarifying question. So thank you, my seller that asked that. You definitely made me laugh, but there's a litany of things that we do to get the house ready, and the smell is just a small part of it. So hopefully that answered your question. Oh, thumbs up. I love it. Okay. Thanks for locking in. Oh, we have fun stuff here, guys. All right. So I have an investor question. If I can get to the extra one, I have another bonus question for my investors that came over, and I had to do a rewind because sometimes we're here because some of us are in different places of our investment stage, right? And then we have newbies that have questions that seem remedial, but they're new because you start somewhere. You always got to start somewhere. Now people never feel afraid of asking a question. So one of them was my nephew asked the question. He's like, what does that even mean? What is a cap rate? What's so important about that? So it's kind of important. It's kind of the heartbeat of a deal, which is good. And it's not just a percentage, right? So for those of you who are not familiar with the cap rate, it actually means capitalization rate. And it's something you want to look at whenever you're looking into an investment. And you don't want to just say, okay, it's the highest, it's the best. That's not necessarily the case. There's other factors that get involved with it, right? So for those of you who want to know what the cap rate broken down is, for my math nerds out there, I'm a little bit of a nerd. It's basically taking your net operating income minus your expenses minus your purchase price to get an idea what that percentage is going to be. All right. And it's, I want to say it's a mouthful, but like you want to make sure you understand it and you want to understand how it works. So you're not thinking that the higher is always the better. But when you're shopping, initially you want a cap rate that's high because you have a higher return on your money. Sometimes it also means it's going to be a riskier investment. All right. So a solid cap rate might actually sometimes mean that you're going to be in a situation where steady growth and room for growth. So, and I say solid because I mean, obviously Midland, I mean, great cap rates, 10 plus, right? We love those. For those of us who are looking, I'd love a 20 plus, but let's be realistic with what we got going on right now. Anything under low numbers, single digits, those are things you want to make sure that they make sense as far as like having an out for growth. Like you can add something, or the neighborhood's turning around, or there's room for improvement, or that cap rate can be improved if the costs were down lower, or different factors like that. So it seemed like a really easy question at the time because we've been dealing with these numbers all along, but for somebody who's new in the game, and they see these when people are advertising investment pieces, oh, the cap rate is this. Understanding what that means and how to back into that number is going to be really important for you guys. So if you need a capitalization chart, calculator, rundown, reach out to me. I can definitely help you with that. Just questions and suggestions, like, definitely help you with that. So that is, you are not alone with that scenario either. And I love talking so much that before you know it, we're at our 15 minutes, but we're not there yet. So that was my one investor question. I hope that answered my nephew's question. I know I answered him right away, but I wanted to make sure I shared, because it seems like even when you're coaching, like, you feel like you know things already, but you forget at some point these people didn't know these things, right? So I want you not to be afraid to ask questions, not be afraid to say, like, I heard this, what does this even mean? And help you guys navigate that process. And if you're working with someone, you want to make sure that you're not afraid to ask those questions either, right? So when you're doing your buyer's consults, or when you're interviewing somebody for listing your house, make sure they give you that comfortable feeling that you're not afraid to ask questions, because it's a very long road, a very long process, and there's a million and one things that get thrown at you on a daily basis. And to know you're not alone in the journey and you can ask questions to someone, that's going to be key for you guys. So since I have a few minutes left, I'm going to add in another investor question, because this one was good timing when you think about it, because we're in a situation where, where'd my question go? Here it is. You have options, right? So they asked, what is better for my property, to do a short-term rental or a long-term rental? And as someone who has both, and the pain points I feel right now in my short-term rental, maybe you should ask me on a different day. I'm just kidding. The answer would be the same. It really does depend, right? There's upside to both scenarios. If you're doing a long-term renter, it's more stable, right? You're still a landlord. You still got things you got to take care of, but it's a stable, steady income. Now, short-term rentals, there's an upside if you're very busy, but there's also really realistically lulls where you have, like, they call them shoulder seasons, depending on where you're investing at, right? So if you're in the Poconos, or if you're by the beach, maybe winters are slower and things like that. So it really depends on the area that you're in, and, like, your bandwidth for stress levels. Because when you have a short-term rental, you have to make sure it's filled all the time to make sure that you have the money. And then once it gets filled, you have to convert. Oh, I love when I get visitors too. You have to convert that, that extra bit of time and turn it over quickly. You have to be able to have the cleaners come in there, make sure it's perfect, go through everything, make sure nothing's broken, lost, stolen every single time. So while it's great to be busy, that means you also have to have turnover quickly and efficiently, and make sure everybody still keeps giving you a 5-star rating. So, yeah, I know you're laughing because you feel my pain too. As my partner in crime over there. So yeah, we feel the pain of short-term rentals. And there's, like I said, it's a nice little blend. So if you have a portfolio, don't be afraid to mix it up. If you have an area that will warrant the ability to do a short-term rental, because, it's in the place that makes sense for it. Obviously, you're not going to be in the middle of nowhere and say short-term rental is going to work here. Make sure you guys are collecting data. And you hear me say it a lot, like, data is really important. I'm well about the numbers, the locations, the outs, the possibilities, all the things you want to keep in mind, right? And if you have questions about that, you partner yourself with an educated real estate agent. I know a girl. Hi guys. I can help you navigate the process. We do portfolio building. I do, that's the word so funny when you say it together like that still, and I'm a grown up. but either way, we do have consults with a lot of our investors, even first time investors, to help build their portfolio. So we work on that too. So if you have questions on how to get started in investing, we have people that we partner with. We have people that we manage their portfolios. We have people that we find things for. So all things real estate, you hear me say it a million times, whether you're buying, selling, thinking about investing, just want to have questions about the real estate market, like, a girl. All right. So it's what we do. And I love it. So don't be afraid to ask questions. Man, who's telling me it's time's up? It's never time's up when you're talking real estate, but it literally is 7:15. But guys, I'm going to sneak in one more question, because this one was kind of funny, because I figure every once in a while we should add in some wild card general curiosity questions, because I get some that don't really fit in any of the buckets. Like, I'll get something in my queue and I'm like, where do I put this? With the sellers, the buyers? And the question was, what's the weirdest question you've got at a real estate broker? Not necessarily real estate related, but what's the weirdest question I've got? So I figured I would answer that question because it deserves an answer. And the question was, weirdest question, I love it. Do ghosts affect real estate value? Someone literally asked me that question. Like, it's a real question. And I had to laugh because in New Jersey, not really, because we don't have to disclose it. But guys, If you walk into the house and you have a vibe, trust your gut. But if it's a great deal, go ahead and lock it in and let's do some sage and whatever we got to do after, call a stager. But ultimately, it's all fun. Real estate's fun and tons of opportunities. Feel free to vet everything before you rule it out. But the reality of it is it's a fun game. It's a long game. And when you're ready for all of it, you have somebody in your back pocket. So give me a call. Samara Keeps It Real Estate. Thank you for joining me for another Monday. For those of you who are watching the content, we have fun stuff all the time. The YouTube page is full of our local loves where we go out and interview people that are active in the community, local businesses, local clubs, nonprofit organizations that we just want to hear their backstory because I love hearing people's backstories. You know, there's always something to it. So go out and support them. Check them out if you haven't seen them already. Also, we do our Truth Busters. Tuesday myth busting, where I'll hear something and then I'll have to debunk it or we will strongly confirm it. So if you've seen those, lock in, check them out. Those are on Tuesdays and they go out every Tuesday. And then during the week, we usually try to just post things that are going on in my world. You know, this life be life in, and sometimes when you tell a story, people can resonate with it and sometimes it helps them. So think about sharing your story whenever you can. I just finished my 75 hard, so that's always tons of fun, and there's a journey behind that. I'm sure I could tell a whole story about that, but for all my first-time home buyers out there, you are not alone in the journey. For my sellers out there, you are never alone. For my investors, we always have tons of fun. So let's get after it, guys. Thank you again for locking in for another episode of Samara Keeps It Real Estate. I will see you all next Monday at 7 p.m. Oh, it might be in a remote location, but stay tuned for that because that'll be fun. Maybe even in Europe. Whatever my time is. See you later, guys.